Good day everyone, this is Shalini, Assistant Professor in the Department of Psychology at Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute, deemed to be University. So, today's topic is about theories of emotion. Emotion that everyone will go through in our life. So, what is an emotion? Emotion is defined as a subjective response that is usually accompanied by physiological changes and is associated with changes in behavior. So, usually emotion is subjective in nature and it is accompanied by physiological symptoms and behavior. What is physiological symptoms? It is our bodily reaction to a stimulus in the environment. For example, if you are encountering a threatful situation like seeing a venomous snake in your backyard, that is a stimulus. After seeing it, you will get your bodily reaction like rise of heart rate, palpitation, sweating, nervousness. After this symptom, you will run away from the place. That is behavioral response. So first you're seeing a stimulus, you're getting your bodily reaction, that is your physiological symptoms. After you're running away from the place, that is behavior. So an emotion is a full body, mind, behavior response to a situation. As of now, everything is clear. But where is our physiological symptoms arise from? Basically, it arises from our SNS, that is your sympathetic nervous system, responsible for network of nerves. So, what is the role of your SNS? It is responsible for flight or fight reaction. Basically, it activates the flight or fight response. Here, we should clear about something, that is your SNS is responsible for flight or fight reaction. Your parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for rest and digest. It basically activates your rest or digest response. Okay, what is flight or fight response? It is an automatic physiological reaction to an event that is perceived as stressful or frightening. Okay, it is a automatic reaction, it is automatic bodily reaction which pop up in you when you are encountering a threatful situation. So when you are seeing a snake, you are getting a bodily reaction. That reaction arises from your flight or fight response. Flight means your bodily urges you to run away from the place or the danger. Fight means your bodily urges you to fight against the threat or a danger. When your body feel it is danger and you believe that you have to empower the threat, you will respond in the fight mode. If your body believes that you cannot overcome the danger that you have to avoid, so you will run away from the place, it will respond in the flight mode. I think the flight or fight response is clear. We will move to a next slide. Different people may have different emotional experiences even when they have faced similar circumstances. An obvious yes, right? Even though you and your friend experiencing a same situation, but you two can have different emotion. Yes, right? Likewise, different theories have been proposed on emotion. The first theory that we're going to see here is James Lange theory. Here, James Lange's theory of emotion asserts that emotion arises from physiological arousal. For example, if you are encountering a threat in your environment, like seeing a snake, seeing a venomous snake in your place, your SNS will initiate your bodily reactions. That is your physiological symptoms like rise of heart rate, sweating, palpitation, respiratory change. After this bodily reaction, you will experience fear. So, see here. First, you're encountering a threatful situation. like seeing a venomous snake. After seeing it, you will get your physiological symptoms like heart pounding or sweating. So whatever physiological symptom is arising in you. So after your physiological symptoms, you will experience emotion as fear, or this physiological symptoms will trigger the emotion as fear. So first, stimulus, physiological symptoms, emotion as fear. First, you are seeing a stimulus, that is, which is threatful, that gives you a physiological symptoms. After your physiological symptoms, you are experiencing emotion as fear. So he concluded that the feeling of fear will be experienced after the physiological symptoms. I think it's clear now. The next theory is Kennan-Bad theory of emotion. According to his view, physiological arousal and emotional experiences occur simultaneously and independently. So, when you're seeing a threatening stimulus in your environment, you will get your physiological arousal and your emotional experiences, that your bodily reaction and your emotional experiences occurs simultaneously. After seeing a stimulus, your physiological arousal, your bodily reaction, and emotional experiences like fear, excitement, so whatever it is, it will occur simultaneously without any delay. You can see here, first you are encountering a threatful situation like seeing a venomous snake in your backyard. After seeing it, you are getting your physiological symptoms like heart pounding and sweating and fear of emotion occurring simultaneously. It is not coming like one after another. They both coming simultaneously. When you're seeing a snake, you're getting your physiological symptom. At the same time, you're experiencing your emotion as fear. But in James Lange, you're seeing a arousal after you're getting physiological symptoms. After your physiological symptoms, you're getting emotion as fear. But here, you're seeing a threatful situation like a snake, venomous snake. You're getting your physiological symptom and emotion simultaneously without any delay or one after another. It is occurring simultaneously. I think it's clear. The next theory is Schacher-Singer two-factor theory of emotion. According to his theory, emotions are composed of two factors, that is, physiological and cognitive. Previous theories, we don't see any cognition role. But here, we're going to see how cognition plays a role in emotion. Nothing but your physiological arousal is going to interpret it in the context to produce the emotional experiences. So basically, your bodily changes and your bodily reaction is going to analyze and labeled for your emotional experiences. When you're seeing a stimulus, you're getting your physiological arousal, your bodily reaction is going to be interpreted to produce emotional experiences. Here you can see an example when you are encountering a dreadful situation like seeing a venomous snake that elicit SNS activation, that your physiological symptoms like heart pounding, sweating, that physiological symptoms were analyzed and labeled, that is cognitive label, as I am scared, I am afraid. After this process, you're going to experience fear as an emotion. First, stimulus, physiological symptoms analyzed and labeled, and it is producing fear as an emotion. If you are labeled your SNS activation as joy, then you would experience joy as an emotion. Here, your heart pounding and sweating physiological symptoms have been labeled as scared, so you are experiencing fear as an emotion. Stimulus, Physiological symptoms, labeling your physiological symptoms, emotion. I think it's clear now. The next theory that we're going to see about is Lazarus cognitive mediational theory. It emphasizes on the cognitive appraisal and interpretation of the stimulus that causes the emotional reaction. In the previous theory, we interpreted the physiological arousal, but here we're going to interpret the stimulus itself. We're going to interpret the stimulus, whether it is dangerous or not, whether I should produce my physiological symptoms or not. All these things is known as cognitive appraisal. First, you're going to see a stimulus, then your cognitive appraisal takes place. Your cognitive appraisal will lead to physiological arousal. Whether you have to go for flight or fight reaction, what kind of reaction I should give, all these stuffs will take place. Let's see an example. You're encountering a situation where you could see a snake which is inside the glass box. Here, your cognitive appraisal will tell you, hey, inside the glass box, it will not reach you, it will not create any danger or threatening situation to you, so you can be chill. After your cognitive appraisal, your physiological arousal will not take place because it is not danger to you, and you will experience emotion as neutral. But if the snake was outside on of the glass box, then your cognitive appraisal will tell you, hey, it is very dangerous, because it's a very venomous snake. After your cognitive appraisal, your physiological arousal, that is your bodily reaction, will pop up, like nervousness, palpitation, sweating, respiratory change. All these stuffs will take place. After these physiological symptoms, you will experience fear as an emotion. Let's see another example. For an example, you can see a dog which is inside the fence, that you need not worry about it because it's inside the fence, it will not reach you. Your cognitive appraisal will tell you it's inside the fence, it will not create any problem, so you can leave the place. But if the dog is outside the fence looking at you and barking at you, then your cognitive appraisal will tell, hey, it's a dangerous stimulus which is looking at you, you have to leave from the place. Then your physiological symptoms will arise and you will experience fear as an emotion. First, you're seeing a stimulus, then your cognitive appraisal will take place, basically interpreting your stimulus, whether it is dangerous or not. First, a stimulus, cognitive appraisal, whether interpreting your stimulus is dangerous or not. After your cognitive appraisal, you will get your physiological symptoms. After your physiological symptoms, you will experience fear as an emotion. I think it's clear now. Let's see a quick summary of theories of emotion. The first theory that we're going to see is James Lange theory. You are encountering a threatful situation like seeing a venomous snake in your backyard. That is a stimulus. After seeing a threatful situation, you are getting your physiological symptoms, your bodily reaction like heart pounding, sweating. After your physiological symptom, that leads to emotion, experiencing the fear of emotion. Next theory is Cannon-Bad theory. First, you're encountering a threatful situation like seeing a venomous snake. That leads to your physiological symptoms like heart pounding and sweating and fear of emotion, which is happening simultaneously. It is not happening one after another. You're seeing a stimulus, your physiological symptoms and fear of emotion occur simultaneously. It is not one after another. It is not coming a delay process. It is happening simultaneously. Your third one is catcher-singer two-factor theory. You are encountering a threatful situation, seeing a venomous snake. You are getting your physiological symptoms, heart pounding, sweating, nervousness. You are going to interpret it as cognitive appraisal. You're going to interpret your physiological symptoms. So why am I getting this? What is this means? You are interpreting and labeling your physiological symptoms. So it is labeled as I am scared. Then it leads to the fear of emotion. So if you are labeling your SNS activation as joy, then you will experience joy as an emotion. Here you are experiencing fear as an emotion because you labeled it as scared. I think it's clear. So the final theory is Lazarus cognitive mediation theory. So here you are encountering a threatful situation your cognitive appraisal will tell you it is dangerous, you have to move from the place. Then you will experience physiological symptoms and fear of emotion. If it is not dangerous, if it is in the glass box, then your cognitive appraisal will tell you, hey, it is not dangerous, you should not have any fear about it. Then you will experience emotion as neutral. I think it's clear now. The four theories: James Lange theory, Kennan-Bad theory, Scacher-Singer two-factor theory, and Lazarus cognitive mediation theory. Thank you for watching this video. Happy learning.